Hello, beautiful people. It's Cinderella. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're back again with another video. Still on the Blake Lively and the Justin Baldoni situation. We're going to be checking this video, and this is about the cast of It End Results and also Sony, which is quite interesting because lots of people have interesting information as like it's pretty interesting though. So I love your thoughts and your contribution in the comments below. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. Let's dive right into the video.
So after reading the entire Justin Baldoni website lawsuit, all 168 pages of it, there are two people I have the biggest beef with. Now, yes, all of the players are sort of terrible. Obviously, Blake and Ryan are just the dregs. And Stephanie Jones of Joneswork PR is terrible. Leslie Sloan she's like a rabid animal. And let me tell you something, Leslie Sloan, I used to work in tabloid magazines and I used to have to reach out to Leslie Sloan for comment on like beauty articles. This wasn't even like news articles. And she was the nastiest. Like nobody wanted to call her. Nobody wanted to reach out. She's terrible. And celebrities that hire her know her reputation and hire her for that. But like it says something about you that you want someone like that representing you. Not exactly the type of person you want representing you if you're the good time girl or you're a guy that like pretends you're funny like Ryan Reynolds. The fact that they have Leslie Sloan should just speak volumes about who they are anyway. And I'm really disappointed in the cast. I understand they probably were manipulated, but like really terrible that you knew you had a director who was lovely and you took one person's word for it and like went with that. And they've all been radio silent, which is not going to bode well for them. But the two people that I have the biggest beef are these. One, Sony is terrible. Sony Pictures is terrible. The fact that they would defer to an actress and let an actress have all this leeway, without deferring to the actual like production house and the director is disgusting. My guess is that there are people that are not going to want to do business with Sony because they're going to worry that their projects are going to be sidelined by some diva actor or actress and that Sony will not protect them. And they would be right. I feel like this is the beginning of the end for Sony. And the second person, and the most important person, is Colleen Hoover, the author of This Ends With Us. I understand the book is about domestic violence and she probably felt like she had to believe Blake Lively, but she had an ongoing relationship, the original relationship with Justin Baldoni. And the fact that she has not supported him, come out in defense of him, said anything about him, that she just allowed Blake to railroad the entire production of this movie is disgusting. Since Justin Baldoni owns the rights to the other books that she has, I hope he just sits on them. I hope he holds on to those and never lets them get made. That's what I hope he does. Because she, to me, is just disgusting and gross. I really want to hear what you guys think. Have you read the lawsuit? Like, what are your thoughts on Sony, on Colleen Hoover? Like, I want to hear it all.
At this point, we just need the cast and the crew to just say your story, make a statement. You guys were riding for Blake and, Brandon made statements when she dropped her New York Times and now no one has said anything. I think it's going to be very interesting. I did watch a video of a woman who had a source from an actor who was in that dance party montage, and they said after that scene was shot, or after one of the party scenes, it might have not exactly been that one, but she was in party scenes on the movie, and once that party scene was shot, Justin gave this huge speech to everyone, like all the cast and crew, like this really heartfelt speech talking about how this is for the good cause and it's for the fans and this and this and this, and everyone was like really in it, like it was super nice. But the only people that weren't were Fake Lively and Jenny Slate. They were standing there with their arms crossed. Blake was like rolling her eyes, and it really gave like the cool kids against the theater kids. And that speaks volumes, because if you're an actor that went to a college or theater and we're different, passion projects, indie projects, and I just don't think Blake has ever worked on like an indie or like a passion project, is different. Those are the movies that like, man, you're not just doing it for the money, those are the best projects to kind of be on, where it just like fuels your soul. But yeah, what do y'all think about all of this stuff happening? I mean, if Colleen drops a lawsuit, what? Girl, you picked your side. You went with the cool kids instead of the theater kids. You know what I mean? Like, it's too late for you. But the fact that Wallace is stepping up and he's like, nope, not me, girl, not me. Where's the proof, Blake? Anyway.
Ends With Us sources are starting to come forward. Publicist creator Jamie Jocelyn King, who I will tag, said that some sources from on the set are coming forward to give her the scoop. Listen to this. It was during COVID. They were shutting down production, and Justin Baldoni was giving a heartfelt speech about how they have to give justice to the fans and how they have to just like make this film happen and how important it was. And the source said that Blake Lively and Jenny Slate just stood back there and kind of was like, like they weren't buying it. And the vibe was the cool girls versus like the theater dorks, basically. You know, the people who stand for something and whose work is meaningful versus the rich people who don't care about COVID and people losing out on jobs and making this film happen and artistic integrity. Side note, the PR stories coming out about how calm Blake is, and then date night selfie pictures with Ryan and Blake, how calm and cool they are. Then TMZ reports a few hours later that, you know, Blake's calling Justin's lawsuit a sideshow or whatever it was. I mean, come on. Leslie Sloan is putting out those stories. She's Blake's publicist. And I'm telling you, I worked with Leslie before. When I worked with her, she was a nutball. Ran around screaming and everyone was like, oh God, Leslie's here. So I can only imagine what is happening now. What do you think? Are more people going to come out and speak? Keep the sources rolling. That's all I have to say. One thing people like to say is, oh, but why is all the cast siding with Blake Lively if it's not true? To which I keep saying, obviously they're hitching their wagon to the bigger stars. Not only that, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds throw around their affiliation with Taylor Swift from day one. It's in all the text messages. It's in the correspondence with Justin Baldoni. And get this. Some internet people figured out that in the Chiefs game suite last year was Brendan Scaliner in the Chiefs game boxes above Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. So when you go, oh, well, why is all the cast siding with Blake then? I wonder. They're wooing them with Chiefs games. They're like the popular kids, hanging out with the popular kids. Now Justin and the dorks are in the base. And not only that, Blake and Ryan got Colleen Hoover on their side, and basically we're threatening everyone like, you need to come on board with us if you want to be in the sequel because we're taking control of this film. And everyone saw that they were taking control of the film and pushing Justin out. So of course they're gonna side with them. But I think the breaking news here is that the internet people discovered this Brendan guy in the Chiefs box. So like, if that was happening, what else was happening? And I think we can all forget the narrative now that little Miss Taylor Swift was being used by her friend. She was very much part of this little evil scam to take over the film. What do you think?
I have a source from the set, evidence with us. This is a reputable source. I have confirmed this source. This source was on set for the filming of the party scene and they wished to remain anonymous. Said when they filmed that scene afterwards, Justin gave a speech to the entire cast and crew and it was very heartfelt. And this source said that almost everyone was super into it except for Blake seemed to be rolling her eyes and so did Jenny along with her. Said that Justin's speech was about the fans and about the importance of the topic at hand and about the book and doing it justice for the fans. She said it felt like the cool kids table versus the like nerdy theater kids table and the kind of vibes, the disconnect between the two parties. She said that she was previously a really big fan of Jenny and that she just had this negative energy about her, and what Justin was saying seemed to be so heartfelt and truthful and wholesome. And she assumed the tension was just because of the upcoming the writer's strike and what was going on set about were they going to keep filming, were they going to stop filming, etc. So it was all up in the air and they weren't sure if things were about to get shut down. And I thought, oh, maybe that's why they're being bitchy about his speech, is because, oh, they're about to get shut down. This source also said that Blake just kind of felt like not secure in her postpartum body on set, which in my opinion, as a woman who's had 3 children, might have led to her need to control everything, the shots and what was being filmed, to make sure that she looked the way that she wanted to look. Or why she felt she was being fat shamed, because she probably felt internally not her best, as we've seen through some of the text. So this is a reputable source. I hope more cast members, if you're a cast member or if you were an extra, you're safe with me, you're totally anonymous. If you were around or on set, please reach out. I'm happy to share your story anonymously. Everything that I post here is totally anonymous. And yeah, the judge denied the gag order. So looks like everything will be going to trial as of now in March of next year.
Speaking of the intimacy coordinator and Isabella, this is the only interview that I have found where she is by herself. I haven't really found any other interview where it's just her in the room. And I think it's because the way that she answered the question about the intimacy coordinator, because any other time that you see her, she's either on the panel with the 4 of them, which is like young Atlas and old Atlas, Blake and her, or it's her and Blake. And I feel like it was to monitor her answers, because this is not an answer that Blake would want out there, because it contradicts what she says about like everything in her complaint about the intimate scenes and such things. She implies like that the intimacy coordinator would have been like very hands off or not there at all. But this clip right here proves that wrong, and I think that this is why we don't see her in any interviews by herself after this, with the exception of the premiere. And none of those questions are about the intimacy coordinator. None of them reference Justin or what it was like to work with Justin on set.
Fitting.
Right?
Yeah, it's perfect for it. What about like with him, especially, like how do you guys sort of prepare for like the intimate scene, and like whether it's a kiss or whether it's whatever?
I mean, we had a phenomenal like intimacy coordinator, Lizzie. She's worked on Bridgerton before, so she was extra careful with us at all times. But also there was just a lot of communication and like check-ins and making sure like how are you feeling, how's it going, and a lot of water, like making sure we feel like physically but also mentally well, just while doing such intense scenes, because it takes a long time. It's a choreographed thing. You have to rehearse the choreography. It's like a dance, you know? Right. It's not just like, oh, I guess we'll do this and then it'll lead to that. Like everything is so specific because it is so intimate that it can get tiring, but it was it was a great process, honestly. Yeah.
Was that your first time like going through a process like that?
When I was in school for acting, there was more like theater intimacy coordinators and stuff because I did a lot of plays in school. So I've had to like share a few kisses, obviously, with people, but there was never anything that I had to do on screen. So that's my first time doing it, it's different. Yeah.
What is it like now to just watch it back? Not even like just that scene, just like in general,
the
just
whole thing.
your whole work.
Oh, it's so weird.
Yeah.
It's weird, but it's great. I mean, it's such a transformation, and to kind of see myself in that light is super cool. I mean, just everybody was, so cooperative on set, and like it was such a comfortable environment that when I see my work, I'm like, I feel good about it. Yeah. It's a crazy thing to watch, though. I have to kind of be like, oh my God, like, is that what I'm seeing right now? Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or your family, like watching that with your family. It's like,
yeah, thankfully they keep it pretty PG. We're high school. Yeah, they don't push it at all.
Exactly.
And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. So my source has told me that Lively's legal team is allegedly attempting to amend their filing and add Jenny Slate as a plaintiff to the lawsuit. But Jenny Slate allegedly does not want to be involved in this mess at all. And if she rejects their offer to be made an actual plaintiff in the case, which seems likely, they're likely going to subpoena her anyway and just include her testimony or her as evidence because she allegedly has had some very bad experiences with Justin Baldoni in regard to harassment or being made to feel uncomfortable on set. I think at this point, Lively's team very strongly believes that if they're able to add more women officially to the lawsuit, that the claims will look more legitimate. But at this point, I don't think Jenny Slate or anyone else on the cast really wants to jump aboard the Plantation Khaleesi's yacht that seems to be sinking rather quickly.
This is a message for Sony and Hoover and Sony Pictures. I know what I'm asking for is going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars. New Lily Bloom, Justin Baldoni's original creative ideas. Reshoot it. There is no one in the world that doesn't know about It Ends With Us right now. Anyone who's already seen the film will rewatch the film. Anybody who read the book and was disappointed will rewatch the film. Anybody that hates Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively will watch the film. Think of how much money you would have actually had to spend to get this much buzz around the film. Reshoot it. We'll watch it. I'll spend another $20 to rewatch it, and I'm sure there's so many people that would agree with me.
So let's just talk about the three biggest D-bags from the Justin Baldoni Blake Lively lawsuit. Now, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I might have had a couple of drinks prior to filming this. So am I entirely sober? No, I am not. Will I regret this tomorrow? Potentially, but I don't really think so. D-bag number one, Sony. This is from when Blake was demanding more time in the editing room and essentially holding up the release of the trailer of the movie, essentially holding the film hostage per Justin's amended lawsuit. Jamie Heath and Justin are pushing back on this, and the Sony executives literally say, you guys don't want to play ball. You are going to delay and greatly hurt the movie. Good luck. I'm sorry, what kind of pussy ass behavior is this? Like, for real. You have this entitled brat who is demanding more time in the editing bay, which she's not even supposed to be doing. She's not even granted that time in the editing bay. And because of that, she's literally holding the trailer hostage, holding your film hostage, and all Sony has to say is, yeah, you don't want to mess with her. Guess what, guys? You gave in to all of her demands, and she still did what she said she wasn't going to do. Her whole thing was, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to go to the New York Times and I'm going to claim sexual harassment. Oh, funny. She did that. June 18th, Sony marketing requests that Baldoni waive his film buy credit on the secondary poster so that only Lively's name would appear above the title. Further, despite having already approved a poster for the film, it was understood by Wayfarer that Lively would not approve this new version in which Baldoni's name appeared next to hers, thus requesting that Baldoni's name be removed. Sony obliged and made the ask to Baldoni. Given this is a contractual right that Baldoni negotiated, Sony needed Baldoni to put in writing that he was waiving his right to a film buy credit. For clarity, there would be no reason for Baldoni to waive this right without Lively requiring him to do so. Ultimately, he acquiesced. Like, Sony, seriously? This woman has you by the balls. Here's Sony being absolute losers again, too, when Blake takes the movie, goes to Book Bonanza, and decides to show the uncut, unfinished version of It Ends With Us to total fucking random strangers. Sony is literally like, Blake, please don't do this. Please don't show the movie. Colleen is sitting there like, oh, haha, it's not done. It's just a rough cut. What does Blake do? She shows the movie. And what did Sony do? Oh yeah, that's right. Nothing. Because what have they done all along? Nothing. Bag number two in this whole situation, William Morris Endeavor. So according to Justin's lawsuit, it says that I guess a bunch of the cast from It Ends With Us went to the Wolverine premiere. Justin, of course, was not invited. But at this Wolverine premiere, Ryan Reynolds was going up to various agents of WME, telling them that Justin was a sexual predator. I do not buy for one split second that Ryan and Blake were not like, it's us or him. They 100% did that. I mean, again, I don't know this for a fact, but like, that is my opinion, and I would be shooketh if that were not the case. WME are like huge pussies too. I understand that Blake and Ryan are like pretty big fish, but now they're big fish that will never swim again. Like, literally. Nope. Not even in like a pond. Through small dick behavior. Like, micro. Actually curious if WME is going to issue Justin an apology because they just look like such idiots. Finally, the third biggest D-bag of this whole saga is Colleen Hoover. All she's done is post whack-ass Facebook messages where she's basically saying how she can totally sleep well at night. She's going to continue writing. She's essentially happy as a clam. Really says, I promise that I can sleep at night with a peaceful heart. Pauline, is your heart made of meth? Like, for real.
This video is for Justin Baldoni's former agency, WME. Dear WME, I just need some clarification. So you guys dropped Justin Baldoni right after Blake Lively's legal complaint. You may have not given an explanation as to why you dropped Justin Baldoni, but you made sure to come forward quickly and deny that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively pressured you to do so. So if it wasn't Blake and Ryan that pressured you to do so, we would assume, if we're doing the math correct here, that it's because of Blake Lively's SH allegations. But if it's because of the SH, if that's the case, there's a few more celebrities on your roster that should have been dropped. Let me give you a few examples. So we have Ben Affleck. As you guys can see, he is on the website for WME. His talent agency is listed as WME. In 2017, Ben Affleck apologized for groping actress Hillary Burton in the early 2000s. And yes, groping someone's butt without consent is SA, which he admitted to 17 years later. Mr. Drake A. Minor has been represented by WME for over a decade. We've all heard the rumors of Drake's predatory behavior towards minors. But let's not forget headlines like this. This was in 2019. Drake paid $350,000 to the woman who accused him of SA. Now, why would you pay someone all that money? I'm gonna guess to shut them up. Others represented by WME are J Balvin, Jared Leto. Let's not forget J Balvin's controversial para video, where he had black women on leashes. Jared Leto was accused of predatory behavior online. Dylan Sprouse called him out directly on Twitter in 2018 and said, now that you've slid into the DMs of every female model aged 18 to 25, what would you say your success rate is? Jonah Hill, who is also represented by WME, was accused by Nickelodeon star Alex Nicholas of kissing her without consent when she was 16. Let's not forget the accusations that came from his ex. In Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, they had claimed that Ryan Reynolds had approached a WME executive at the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere. Not only did Reynolds allegedly express his deep disdain for Baldoni, but he also wanted to let the executive know, like, hey, if you didn't know, you're working with a sexual predator. And then at a later date, he was demanding that they drop Baldoni. WME denies this. They said they weren't even at the premiere, but I mean, come on. So if it wasn't Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively convincing you, WME, I guess it's just different rules apply to different celebrities, huh? Is that what you go by? So professional.
Who is running Sony? During the time of It Ends With Us, Tony Viscara was running Sony, which I probably butchered his name. But he no longer runs Sony. Let me take you through it. So on August 14th of 2024, Hollywood Reporter ran a story. It Ends With Us. Sony chief praises Blake Lively for advancing the conversation around domestic violence. He says Sony is fully in sync with Lively. Blake, Colleen, and so many women put so much effort into this remarkable movie. No mention of Justin Baldoni, by the way. Working selflessly from the start to ensure that such an important subject matter was handled with care. Audiences love the movie. Blake's passion and commitment to advancing the conversation around domestic violence is commendable. Grab your florals. Okay. He goes on to say, we love working with Blake and we want to do 12 more movies with her. He was basically taking sides of Blake Lively and making it be known. This article ends by saying sources have told Hollywood Reporter that there was a fracture between Baldoni and Lively in the post-production stage, wherein two different cuts of the movie emerged. Lively commissioned a cut of the movie from editor Shane Reed, who was an editor on Deadpool and Wolverine. Maybe that was a Ryan Reynolds recommendation, don't we think? On Friday, the movie's opening, Baldoni was asked if he would consider directing the book adaptation of Hoover's sequel, It Starts With Us. He suggested that Lively might be best suited for the job. Flash forward about a month and a half later, Sony Pictures CEO Tony Viscara steps down. Isn't that ironic, don't you think? A little too ironic? Yeah, I really do think. On December 23rd, in a Variety article, Sony doubles down on their support with Blake Lively and says, we strongly condemn any reputational attacks on her. Now, this was before Justin Baldoni's lawsuit came out to the New York Times in December 31st, and then later, a couple weeks later, his lawsuit against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Since then, Sony has been crickets, quiet. So Sony, I think you need to put out a statement if you still support her after reading the filings of Justin Baldoni and hearing his side. Do you still support her?
Remind me who's got the power moves again. We can see all of this coming to play. Obviously, you see the power dynamics, the power struggle, the injustice, all because some particular group of people wanted to please some particular group of people, the dragons, Khaleesi, the princess, and her little dragons, and all that jazz, without even giving this man a chance. If this is not, an orchestrated plan, I really do not know what to say, honestly. But I'm glad that all of this is playing out, and Justin Baldoni, he's fighting for his reputation and his career and his name, and not just him. Lots more other people who are involved in this, because in the course of all this, It is not just Justin Baldoni. We've got lots more other people who are involved in this, who lost their job potentially because of some princess dragons. Let me know what you think.